What's going on, guys? Bob Buskirk here at ThinkComputers, and today we have a new X99 motherboard. This is the Gigabyte X99P-SLI. So let's go ahead and take a look. The X99P-SLI comes in Gigabyte's typical retail packaging. So on the front, they're kind of, advertising their ultra durable design. Doesn't tell us a whole lot, but if we flip around to the back here, we have a ton of information. So again, if you are at the store and you're looking at this board, you can get all of the information you want on the board itself. As far as accessories go with the X99P-SLI, you of course have your driver and installation CD. It actually comes inside there with a case badge as well. Multilingual installation guidebook, our very large user's manual. You have an SLI bridge and a crossfire connector. You have your IO shield, which is black. You have 2 bags of SATA cables, and there's 2 cables in each bag, giving you a total of 4 SATA cables. And then we have a DisplayPort connector, and we have a mini DisplayPort to DisplayPort connector. The X99P-SLI has that same ultra durable color design that we've seen from Gigabyte in the past. So we have an all matte black PCB, and then we have gray and black accents, as well as the gold or yellow here on the heatsink. So we have the large PCH heatsink, which connects via heat pipe up to the heatsink on your power delivery components. And the one down here says Gigabyte, the one up here says ultra durable. And again, they have that nice little yellow or gold accent. Starting at the center of the motherboard here, we have the LGA 2011 V3 socket. Now we have a 6-phase power design, and you may not think that that's all that much, but 6-phase is more than enough for this type of system here. Up top here, we have our 8-pin EPS. It's kind of hard to see behind here. 8-pin EPS. We have our CPU fan header right here, which is labeled in white. And then we have our CPU optional fan way up here. And then we have another 4-pin fan header over here. Now, flanking the CPU socket on each side are 4 DDR4 DIMM slots, of course, on each side, giving you a total of 8. These DDR4 DIMM slots, of course, are color-coded for quad channel operation, and they support up to 128 gigabytes of DDR4 memory. Moving over to the side of the board, the main 2 connections you're going to find at the top right hand of the board is your 24-pin ATX power connection and your USB 3.0 header. Moving down the board, we come to our storage connections, which of course are at a 90-degree angle so they don't interfere with your graphics cards. Now we have a single SATA Express connector, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 SATA 6 gig connections. Now, if you're not going to use SATA Express, of course, that opens up these 2 SATA ports, giving you a total of 10 SATA 6 gig connections. Now, all of these connections are supported under RAID 0, 1, 5, and 10 modes as well. Along the bottom of the board is where you're going to find the rest of your headers and connections and all that kind of stuff. So starting over here, we have our front panel connections. Up here, we have our clear CMOS jumper. I would like to see a switch, but here we have a jumper, so if you want to clear your CMOS, you're going to have to do it that way. We have a secondary USB 3.0 header, our CPU mode switch, 2 USB 2.0 headers, another 4-pin fan connection, TPM header, our Molex connection here, and this is to bring extra power to your PCI Express slots if you need it, another 4-pin fan header, and then we have our HD audio header. Along the far edge of the board is where you're going to find your audio components, and Gigabyte makes use of their amp up audio solution, which is based off the Realtek ALC 1150 codec, and you can see our audio capacitors here as well as the PCB isolation, so your audio components are on their own PCB layer. Moving on to expansion slots, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 PCI Express 3.0 X16 slots, and then we have 1, 2 PCI Express X1 slots. You'll notice on the larger X16 slots is that they have this metal shielding, and this is a single piece metal shielding that will not only give better stability to your graphics cards, but also will protect the slot itself. Now, when it comes to installing graphics cards, this board supports 4-way SLI as well as 4-way Crossfire. Now, when you're installing your cards, slots 1 and slots 2 here, they'll always run at X16 speeds. Now, if you're going to fully populate this, the way it's going to go is X16, X8, X16, and X8. Now, hidden between the two PCI Express X16 slots here is our M.2 slot, and this is PCI Express 3.0 X4, so you're going to have up to 32 gigabit of bandwidth speed. Finally, moving on to the rear I/O, we have 2 USB 2.0 ports, a combination PS2 port. We have 1, 2, and 3 USB 3.0 ports. We have our DisplayPort output here. We have our USB 3.1, and we have the Type A connection right here in red, and as I move over, we have the Type C. Now, with this board, this is actually USB 3.1 PCI Express 3.0 X4. So a lot of people advertise USB 3.1, but it's usually the 10 gigabits a second USB 3.1. This is the 32 gigabits a second USB 3.1. It's actually the first motherboard to get certified up to that specification as well. So extremely fast transfer speeds there. We have our Gigabit Ethernet, 2 more USB 2.0 ports, and our HD audio connections. So this wraps it up here for our quick unboxing and overview of Gigabyte's X99P-SLI motherboard. Now make sure you check back very soon on thinkcomputers.org as we'll have our full written review. Until next time, catch you guys later.